Good morning, fibrologists. It is Toni from the Fibrology Lab, and this is the Coffee Chat with me. We are on Thursday for this week, so this is the last coffee chat for this week. I'll be back for coffee chats on next week on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And what I've been doing over the last couple of weeks is just giving you a tiny smackling of some quilt basics. And again, this is just some way I do things, and it's also the way I teach in our Learn to Quilt class. So excuse me, I have broken it down in very small sections, going step by step by step because it don't too much at once is it's too much. So if you're wanting to follow along, join our mighty networks. You go to friendsfibersfun.club, and in there is a group, and it's free. It's all free to join. Just join it, and you'll get PDFs for every session I'm doing. And I just realized I'm putting up some new sessions that I have forgot to put up, so get everybody caught up this week. But if you're watching, come on in, say hi, where you're from, so I can give you a shout out, because again, I do appreciate your time joining me this morning live or even on the replay. So thank you for coming back on the replay. So the other thing with coffee chats is to kind of have to chat, just basically for me to chat, have questions, yeah, answer your questions, get in touch with you. What are you thinking? What do you need? And also what's going on in our shop. So we are a part of 3 virtual shop hops this month. Yay. Oh, it's December. Yeah, wow, it's December 1st. I'm already running around trying to get other things done, get our block of the month programs out, and get some rest of the orders out from our Black Friday sale. But so this month we're doing 3 different virtual shop hops. For the 2 of them start today. And it's funny because the 2 that start today have the same shop in them. I thought was great because that makes me feel better. But our first virtual shop hop is at 12. It's at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central. You're going to go visit Calico Quilting. They are the first shop up for that. Normally it's supposed to be 12 items at 12 o'clock, but they've kind of given us a lot of freedom. So who knows what's going to happen? Just visit all the shops. I have posted on our Facebook, I've posted links, and I've posted the pictures. I'll post them every day to remind you to go and visit those shops. So today is Calico Cats, but guess what? They're coming back at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central for our quilt must. It just doesn't bring off my tongue. It looks really cool on paper. When you see the word, I'm like, well, that's pretty smart. Saying out loud, it's not as easy. We're part of the quilt must. It doesn't sound right. A virtual shop hop as well. We did it last year, and I was very honored to be asked to come back. So it was kind of cool. So I said yes. And of course, I had already said yes to everything else too. So it's all good. We're gonna have fun this month. So that's tonight, and Calico Cats is doing that one again. We'll be back in tomorrow with 2 new shops, and just again, watch our Facebook page for all those updates. Hey there, Jody. Good morning to you. Good morning, Miss Laura. Good to see you this morning. So that was just virtual shop hops. I have to get that out. Also, I've kicked off our 12 days of giving. I will talk more about it tonight, and what I'll probably start doing is in the mornings at between 8 and 8:30. A short, like tiny little 5-minute, 10-minute live, just like what I did on Black Friday, where it talks about what I'm giving, what our deals are for the day for our 12 days of giving. Remember, our 12 days of giving is one of our fundraisers that we do for Project Linus of East Tennessee. So 10% of whatever we profit off of that will go back to them at the end of the year. And the other thing is, you're only going to be paying for shipping once. So we'll see how this works. This is always that mystery of, do I get charged shipping? Do I not get charged shipping? So I've turned off certain things not to be charged shipping, especially during the 12 days of giving. And the thing with that is, at the end, I probably will say, hey, can you pay, the $10 fee? And it will take care of your shipping for all 12 days. We're going to ship everything from the 12 days of giving at once. So even if you're shopping in between those events, don't worry about that. Those will be taken care of as they happen. But the 12 days will be all put into one package. And I'll be honest, the 12 days of giving, I can't guarantee the items will be there before Christmas. I can't. Just the way the world is right now. But it's easier for us to do it all in one package. So think of this as giving to yourself. Maybe these will be your holiday things. Or if we get them out, we're planning to ship them the 14th, the 15th. They might get there in time. But this is why we do the 12 days of giving normally in November. but we're still getting there. We're getting there. So anyway, that's 12 days of giving. What am I giving? 12 days of giving. We have a Notion bundle. So what I decided this year to be a little more creative. I thought it was creative. You might not think it's creative. Is do a bundle together, saving a little bit of money, and then offering something that I have in the store at a discount. So kind of working on our clearance sale stuff too. Don't forget we have at the end of the month. I always have our end of year clearance. So our first bundle for this today will be a Notion bundle. It's going to have a pack of 2 blades. It's going to have a pack of needles, the Microtex. These are topstitch. These are not what you're going to get. You get the Microtex, and then you're going to get a spool of gray piecing thread from Metler. That is the Notion bundle. It's $24.99. I think you save about 10%. And then the other thing we have on discount, so we have a bundle and a discount every day for the next 12 days, is the Butterfly Quilt 2 pattern. I didn't realize I have a whole bunch of these in stock. So let's move those out. They're 40% off today only. That's the other thing. It's only good for 24 hours. So it's already discounted. It's already in the app and on the website. In the app, you can actually find the 12 days of giving category, which makes it easier for you to locate them. And they'll sit in there. Well, I'll be honest. Look, Butterfly Quilt, it might be in there for a day or two, depending on how much, because I have quite a few. I might not move that. But the Notion bundle, the bundles will only be available for 24 hours. 24 hours. So I'll change that pricing. You don't have to worry about doing anything. It's already set up. Now the shipping is what we don't know what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens at the end of the 12 days. Hey Anna, good morning to you. Good morning to you. So that's just a little bit of what's going on. Don't forget I have a lot. I'm doing that because I've got a lot going on. And I say that a lot. But I do. I have a lot going on. I have to make sure I'm all over the place. I don't know why, just the way I am. So tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, we do our live sale. Next week, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, we will start doing a live sale. So we are going to increase a little bit so we can start just getting things. Now that I'm starting to get fabric in, I need to start having more live events. So I got some new fabric in today. I have Michael Miller coming. I think tomorrow I have Wyndham coming on Saturday. So lots of stuff starting to actually come into the space. All right, let's get down to talking about what's our next step with our mini quilt, our learned beginner quilts. So if you have already done your blocks, and if you haven't, don't worry. I haven't put all the PDFs yet. That will, once I turn this down, they will go up right after this. Got distracted yesterday. It was somebody's birthday. I was visiting a friend. So yesterday I talked about how to piece your on top. So you should have this whole center square done now. It should be 5 by 5. If not, you have time to do it. But just go back to the session and go back to the video to kind of see how I talked about how to press, how to pin, and all those things. So our next important step is our borders. We're going to start with one border. The process is the same except for cutting. So our border we're going to do first is this thin inner border. So you need 4 1.5-inch strips, cut 1.5 width of fabric for this. Now, if you have an outer border that's got direction, I'm going to talk about that in the next section. That's why I said don't cut anything yet. Tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Tuesday, I will talk about how to cut a directional border and how we'll put this final border on. But right now, we're going to do the basics. We're going to do this inner border first. The whole key for me when I look at borders is to square my center. So I've told you yesterday that sometimes, even though we are so accurate with our processes, because we're working with a medium that moves and shifts, and we're working with a machine and thread and all these other components, sometimes it's not quite square. So I like to look at borders as my final step to squaring up that center. So, back in the day, they would take ways to square up this piece, your top, before you add your borders. We're going to make the borders fit, or make our square fit our borders. So what you need to do is cut your borders. I know it's so easy to think that since you cut a straight strip and you slap it on, it should be fine. It's straight. I'm not worried about it. Here's what happens when you slap on a straight piece of fabric to an edge that has all these seams. They pull and they stretch. Especially when you're dealing with blocks that might have bias in them that you don't realize. So this is why it's so important to cut your strips and sew them on before you and versus slapping them on, or you'll end up with a trapezoid. Ask any long arm quilter; they'll tell you exactly what that looks like. And then long arm quilter can look at your quilt and tell how you did it, even if you used a batik. Just make sure you cut. So what you got to do now? This is a small quilt, so keep it simple. You measure the top point edge to edge. Make sure everything's pressed, laying flat. Try to do it on a flat surface, and then measure the bottom. Or if they're within a 1/4 inch of each other, it's good. Don't worry about it. Now, if it's a little closer to 1/2 inch, you're going to have to think about what I might need to manipulate. Maybe I need to tuck in one of these seams. You can't even see the bottom of my quilt as I'm pointing down here. We'll start at the top. How about that? You might need to tuck one of these seams to make it fit. So you have to think that through, or you might have to rip out something and redo something, or maybe you need to press something. So you keep them within a 1/4 inch. This is a small quilt. If you're working on a queen size and it's up to a 1/2 inch difference from the top to the bottom, I wouldn't worry about it because you have enough give to work it out. Anytime it's over a 1/2 inch on a queen size quilt, that's when you want to think, I need to see where my mistakes are and what can I do to fix it versus ripping out an entire top. So what we're going to do is measure the top and bottom, and we try to find that medium. What's the middle measuring point? Now, I always go to 1/4 inch. So if there's an 8, I round it up, or I round it down, depending on how I want it to match. So I'm just using these numbers. These aren't the actual numbers. It should be. And everybody's numbers are different. I teach beginning quilting. This is what happens. Always different numbers. So we're going to say this is 30 inches and an 8. So I'm going to write down the 30 inches. And then this one is 30 1/4. Well, if I did that one at 30 inches, I'm going to go ahead and round this one down to 30 inches as well, because I already know there was an 1/8 of an inch in there. So then I'm going to pin my borders, cut my borders to the exact same number. So we're starting with the top and the bottom just because it's easier visually to see. I'm going to cut it to my that number, and then I'm going to pin. I'm going to force pin it. You know how I told you on your blocks when you pin, you always pin at the outside ends first and then into your seams? Same concept. What you're going to do is you're going to pin them flush on both ends, pin in the center. You might have to pull it to see where the center is, and then kind of pin in fractions, like halves and halves and halves, until you get everything laid out. What that allows you to do is ease the fabric across that strip that you've just forced it into. And it's not going to make big of it. Like I said, a 1/4 inch is is the most I would give on a small project. A 1/2 inch is what I'd give on a queen size. Hey, Linda, good morning. Welcome. So you're going to pin the top and the bottom. You're going to sew them, press them out, then turn your quilter up so you look like you're working the top and the bottom again, and then repeat the process. So you need to cut your fabric to match your top. And what that does, if they're the same size, you're forcing the centerpiece to be that size. There might be a little bubbling. Again, we're working with a medium that has that movement and bias. So don't worry about that. It all comes out in the quilting. They always say, I believe that. And it'll also come out in the wash. First time you wash it, it comes wrinkly anyway. So, but there's ways to make it look more finished. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to measure the top and the bottom, find that number, make sure it's the same, or you average it. So if it was 3 30 inches and a 30 1/4, I would do 30 inches. If it's 30 1/8 and 30 and 30 1/4, I would cut my strips at 30 1/8. Does that make sense? I'll write this all down because that did not make sense. But that's what you're going to do. You're going to average that size number, cut your strips to the same number, and then apply them. We're going to do the same thing for the second board, but I really want to talk about directional print, so I want to do that in the next session. But this is the easy part from here, but it's just because you're just going to put on 4 borders and then press them out. You don't have to press open. I don't press open at this point. I just press everything out. So that is what we're going to do for today's session, is just work on our borders and getting comfortable with cutting our strips to make sure they fit our top. And I will put that PDF here momentarily into the Mighty Networks under the Coffee Chat group. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody got great plans for this weekend? I am going to be. I don't know what I'm doing actually. I think I'm walking a parade, and I think I'm going to sew a little. I might even do shopping. I haven't decided yet. Has anybody else got their Christmas shopping done? I'm just curious. I'm chatting. This is my time to chat, but you guys can chat back too. Oh, excuse me. So I will be back tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern in Facebook, on the app, in the website, everywhere you can find us. And then tomorrow, I'm doing Friday with Friends. I don't know who my friend's going to be. I have to confirm somebody today. And we'll be back here live and in Facebook as well, doing our Friday with Friends. And then it's rinse and repeat. It starts all over again next week with a whole bunch of different stuff going on. So if you guys don't have any questions, thanks for hanging out. Oh, Laura's going to sew and she's going to go shopping too. Get it all done. Yeah, it's better to get it done now than stress about it later, I guess. So you guys have a great Thursday. Thank you for joining live, and thank you if you're watching on the replay. I will be back Tuesday with our next session. On Monday, I'll have weekly lab report. Like I said, we'll just rinse and repeat that whole week with some new stuff as well. So you guys have a great one, and remember, we are friends, fibers, and fun.